Live. There we go. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Let's Get Social YouTube channel. And today I am really excited that we are going to be sewing Beauty du Jour's fanny pack. It is the Chandler fanny pack named after her daughter. I'm really excited. I did sew my very first one to go with my little mini jean collection. You all saw that I did a jean dress that I wore to the Usher concert. And then I turned around and did another jean dress that I was a copy of a dress that I did for a birthday party because, again, I just bought this jean fabric. Well, not just bought it. I just started using a jean fabric that I had bought a little while ago. And I'm just loving the way that it is sewing up. I'm loving the way it has the stretch. I'm just loving all the things about it. So I've been just can't resist sewing many things with it. So I ended up making this Chandler fanny pack with the jean fabric as well. And again, it's super cute. So we are going to be doing it again. This time we are going to be sewing the Chandler fanny pack with leather. I have one of many leather scrap bags that I bought from some of the Frock Tales events and the retreats that I have been to. And I'm like, you know what? I haven't done anything with these scrap bags. So we're going to be making a fanny pack. Hi, Mary from Tennessee. Welcome. Happy to see you. Thank you for joining. For those that are new here, know that I am streaming both to Facebook and YouTube, but I'm also on TikTok as well. So you may see me going from screen to screen, and it's because I am watching both of the screens. So again, thank you everybody that is joining. Happy Friday, and hopefully you are sewing along with me and going to be doing the Chandler fanny pack with me. Hey, Terrence. Hey, welcome. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Happy Friday. So like I said, let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you will need. As I mentioned earlier, I am going to be sewing this with leather. I did order, well, this is actually not the leather scrap bag that I use, but this is one that I had ordered from Amazon a while ago when I was getting my stuff together to do Jamie's Birkenstock shoes. And so I had got all these little packs of leather, and I was just, as I was going through all of my stash, all of my stuff, I stumbled upon this one, but this was after I already cut the fabric. So the fabric that I'm actually using is also a scrap bag that I got when I was in Chicago. And so I got a lot of leather in that scrap bag, and it was enough for me to be able to create the fanny pack that we're using today. So I'm saying this to you to say that September is all about sustainability. And so we're focused on things that are using our scraps. We're also focusing on some what we call low waste patterns as well. You know, again, a little bit more discussion to that to understand how that could be considered, you know, sustainable. But nonetheless, that is what the Black Sewing Network hosts are focused on, sustainability. And so I am tackling that this month by focusing on patterns that you can or things that we can make that we are using our stash. And I'm here to prove today that creating this fanny pack is truly a stash buster because I am using scrap fabric. So with that said, so you do need that. You also need a zipper. You need at least a 15-inch zipper if you are going to be using the same dimensions as the what are in the pattern. By the way, you can get the pattern from beautyja'Dore.com. I will make sure that I link this in my description so that you know exactly where to get it. But also, Beauty Ja'Dore also has a YouTube page as well, and there is a sew along on her page as well. And so anyway, you need a zipper. This is a 20-inch zipper, but you need at least a 15-inch. And then you also need some other hardware. In my case, I am going to be using this hardware, which is a little bit different than what is shown. Actually, you know what? She does show both types in her sew along, but we're going to be going with this type. So you need 2 D-rings and you need 1 adjustable ring that will allow you to adjust it. I am going to be doing things a little bit differently than what is described in the original tutorial. So just again, you do have options for how you are going to be attaching this strap. And so the way that I'm attaching this strap is going to be a little bit differently than what is described in the original tutorial, but it is going to be similar to what is on this. And that is because I want the option to be able to change the strap out. And so if you have this way, you can actually remove this strap and do different kinds of straps. And I wanted that option for this particular bag. I had this option for my jean bag that I could swap this strap out if I decide I want to do something different. And so we are going to be doing it that way, where you have this full flexibility to swap your strap out if you want to. Hey, Anthony, happy Friday. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you for joining. So we're going to do things a little bit differently, which is, and I'm going to walk you through those changes. The other thing is that because I am going to be sewing with leather, I did swap out and use a leather needle for my sewing machine. This is actually going to be my first time sewing with leather. So, you know, we're doing this together. So bear with me. I did not change my thread at all. So we'll see if, you know, if that works. If I have any problems, hopefully I won't, fingers crossed. And then you also need some webbing. I'm going to be using this black and white webbing, or black, I think it is black and white, black and cream. I think it's black and white compared to the others. And it's 1.5 inches is the what I'm going to be using. But I'm also going to be making another bag, another brown bag, using this. And this is not webbing, but it is I don't know what you want to call it, but it is a type of let me think about the term to describe it. But anyway, it's fully stretched. It's like the type of fabric that you might use if you create suspenders, or if you want to put it at the edge of your the bottom of your sweatshirt or your shirt. It's fully stretchable. And so I thought it would be really cute because I like animal print. Particularly, I'm a person who loves like neutral colors like black and brown and tans and, you know, olive greens and stuff like that. That is just what I love more than anything else. Navy blues, maroon, stuff like that. Anything is along that round are colors that I like. So of course I saw this and I loved it. And so I do have a scrap bag that is full of all these different color browns. And so I'm going to be using this. So it's not the traditional webbing, but I definitely think it will be doable. So stay tuned. I probably will maybe post, I will definitely post the end result and may post a little quick, you know, some parts of me sewing this together. Anyway, I just wanted to show you some of the things that you will need. In addition to that, you do need some batting. And so I am actually using, in lieu of batting, I am actually going to be using this interlining. It is, it's a heavy flannel interlining. I used it to make this fanny pack. And so I'm feeling really good about making it to use this other one, especially because this is a stretch denim, and what I'm going to be making it with today is a leather, and it's more sturdier. So, but the purpose of this, according to Nikki, who designed it, is to just give it a little bit more structure so it's not as floppy. And I definitely could say that it did do that. So you do need some interlining, and I think that those are the main things that you will need. So we have all of the things that we need. We have all of our hardware, and we have our fabric. So with that said, I have cut out all of my fabric. What you are looking at now is, I am doing multiple colors for this. So it's a little bit of color blocking. So I have some black, brown, tans, and yeah, that's it. Black, brown, tans are what I'm working with. And then on the inside, I am doing this animal print. It's a Ankara cotton on the inside, which I did serge around all the edges and have everything ready to go. So one of the first steps that you will need to do, hey Aisha, welcome. Well, yeah, for the color blocking, I know I'm here for it, which is the other reason why I want to be able to change out the straps. because I am doing the color blocking. So I'm excited about the ability to be able to change out those straps. So with that said, let us dive into it. Again, thank you all for joining. Thank you to all my friends that are on TikTok. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for sharing. Same on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for the likes, and thank you so much for sharing as well. Because it does notify people that we are here, particularly those that were interested in doing this sew along with us. So I hope that some of you are sewing along. Make sure you drop it in the chat. Let me know if you are sewing along, or maybe you're watching and then you are going to take all the information and decide to sew along. If you have questions along the way, make sure you again drop them in the chat. And with that said, we are going to get to scrap busting and start working on this fanny pack. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is obviously cut out all of your pattern pieces and cut out all of your fabrics. And then you're going to cut batting for your for each of your pattern pieces. And when you are cutting your batting, you want to make sure that you cut it actually smaller than your pattern piece. You want to leave a little bit of an edge. And I didn't do a great job on this one of leaving some of my edge, because you could see I went a little close to the edge on this one. Oh, well, awesome, Erica. I'm so glad that you all are sewing along. Again, if you have questions, be sure to drop them in the chat. And I will check in with you along the way to make sure that we are all on the same page, and you can let me know where you are and if you have any questions. So the first thing that you're going to do is, after you cut out all of your pattern pieces, and you cut out all your fabric, you are going to take your batting pieces. And if you've cut them out, you want to make sure that you cut them so that it falls within the seam allowance. This is not a great example of that, because the seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. And so this is a little more than 3/8 of an inch. And this is obviously a little bit less than 3/8 of an inch. But the goal is that you are not creating unnecessary bulk when you are sewing everything together. So you want to make sure that for each of your pattern pieces that you cut your batting so that it falls within your seam allowance. So you want to make sure that it's 3/8 of an inch smaller all the way around for each of your pattern pieces. And so the other thing that you want to think about too is that, how are you going to affix your batting onto your the wrong side of your pattern piece? And so two things. One is that you could either get fusible batting. So let me back up a little bit, because there are a couple of different options. You could either get fusible batting, which basically is you use heat to attach the batting onto the fabric piece. But because I was using leather, I definitely didn't want to do that, because I don't have a comfort level with ironing leather at all. So I didn't want to mess around with that. So what I did do, and I had all of this non-fusible batting that I had already had in my stash and was not trying to buy anymore. And so what I did use was this spray adhesive. So it's called Fast Tack 87, and it is pretty fast. And I sprayed this onto the batting, and then I pressed it onto, and I just let it sit for a few minutes. It doesn't really take that long at all. It is tacked pretty quickly. So that is another option that you have. The other option that you do have, if you use this type of batting. So again, this is a flannel type of batting. It's not as airy or as traditional batting. So this kind you could technically sew on, but the other thing you just want to be mindful of is that the more you put in that seam allowance, the more bulk you will have in the seam allowance. But if you use this type of batting, that is another option that you have. If you are, I haven't made enough of these to tell you about what it would be like to sew it without attaching any batting at all. Part of me started to go without batting just because, again, this is leather, and it's not, it has a little bit of, I don't know what the weight of this is. I would guess that it's probably like 4 ounces of, it's pretty consistent with the leather that I used to make our Birkenstock shoes. So it does have some, you know, form to it. It's not like floppy. It's actually more structured than what I have in my denim fabric. So I probably could have gotten away without adding the batting to it, but I haven't made enough of these to tell you. And so based on what Nikki had, the instructions that she had gave, I would, and she's made a lot more of these than me, I would definitely recommend that you use the batting because it will give you more of a structure. So you don't end up with like a floppy bag, but something that is more, has a little bit more structure to it. So again, those are options. You can use fusible batting. You can use non-fusible and use a spray adhesive to attach it. Or again, if you use this flannel type, which has a lot more structure to it, you can also not cut it down and then sew it in the seam allowance. But just know that, you know, you will have a little bit more bulk, which is the reason why we are eliminating this from the seam allowance. But again, mine is, while it adds structure, it's not super thick. So I didn't have a problem here with my fussy cutting. Again, it was in the seam allowance a little bit, and this will be in the seam allowance as well a little bit. So the step 2 is that you want to make sure that you cut your batting, that you trim it down to 3/8 of an inch so it fits inside of your seam allowance, and you go ahead and attach it to the wrong side of each piece of your fanny pack. And so you do have 4 pieces, or 5 if you count the 2 pieces that you will create for piece number 4. So again, you want to make sure that you do that on each one. And you can see I did better with, probably better with this one. And then here's my piece number 2. You can see I have the batting all already attached. And this is probably my best one that I did. So this is probably the perfect example where it is completely inside the seam allowance. So you want to spend some time doing that. And Erica, let me know. I don't know what option you chose for your batting, but talk to me. Let me know if you have any questions about that part of it. And again, if anybody else on TikTok is sewing along and you have questions, please make sure you drop them in the chat. The next thing that you are going to do is you are going to take your zipper, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this just because people may still be going through that process of trimming down their seam allowance and attaching their batting onto their fabric. So I do have a zipper that has metal teeth. It is a little bit difficult to cut. They do have like pliers and different things that you can use to make it easier to pull some of the teeth out. This is a 20-inch zipper that I am going to be using. It is recommended that you cut off the end, this end, the stopper end of your zipper, and then place a clip onto it. I did not do that for this one. I just kind of rolled it up because it was a small piece. I rolled it up and just left it inside. So it's actually right here. The end is right here inside of the bag. I'm going to actually do that for this one as well because it is a metal tooth zipper. It's not like the nylon zippers that you could easily take a pair of scissors and just cut through. So I am not going to clip the end of this. I am just literally going to just fold it down because it's going to be a small piece at the very end. So we are going to be basically taking our zipper and we are going to be attaching our zipper to number 3. And this is number 3, which is our front upper piece. And I'm putting to the side our lining piece. And I'm just I'll attach it and then I will show you what I'm doing. So you are going to take it and place it right sides facing. So the right side of the zipper is going to be facing the right side of the fabric. So the wrong side will have your batting and then the right side will be the side that is going to show. You're going to take the right side of your zipper and you're going to place it around the curved edge. So it's going to be going literally around this part of, and this is again pattern piece number 3, which is your upper front piece. So I'm going to use clips because again, I have a leather and you can't put any pins in it because it will put permanent holes. So I'll tell you, I am a little bit nervous about sewing this leather because I'm like, what if I make a mistake? The seam ripper is my friend, but it's not a friend to leather. So I'm taking my time. My fingers are completely crossed. And I'm just taking my time with it. Make sure, oh, see, oh yeah, that's right, okay. Nope, that's wrong. I didn't put it right sides facing, so I'm putting it right sides facing now. And Erica, let me know where you all are because I'm not leaving you. I'm waiting for you, knowing that you're sewing along. I want to make sure that I don't leave you behind, particularly because I did apply my batting before we started. So I want to make sure that you and your mom are sewing right along with me and don't feel pressure to rush or go quickly. Because this is a little bit on a circle, I'm using as many clips as I need to make sure I got it, really fastened on there. So this is what it will look like right sides facing. I also left out about an inch on this side, on the zipper stop side. I left out about an inch here. And then I clipped it right sides facing. You're on track. Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, so once you have your zipper on, right sides facing. So this is the right side of my zipper. If I lift it up, it is facing the right side of my bag. Then you are going to take your lining piece and you are going to sandwich the zipper. So you're going to place it right side of your right side of your lining piece down on the right side. So you should be what you're looking at now, and I know it's probably hard to see on camera, but this is the wrong side of my fabric facing up and the right side is facing down. And you're literally going to sandwich that zipper in there. And you're just going to take those clips or pins, whatever you are using, and you're just going to lift it up and just put your fabric right underneath of it. So I'm just lifting it up and just putting making sure my raw edges are lined up. And I'm just clipping it down because we're going to sew all of this on at one time. So anybody sewing anything this weekend? Anybody have anything on their cutting or sewing table this weekend? I had a busy August, so I'm taking it easy in September. I don't have much on my sewing table. So here we go. This is what it will look like. You're looking at the wrong side of my lining piece because the right side is facing the inside. So this is what it will look like. And the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to then stitch as close as we can get to our zipper without actually sewing the zipper teeth. So similar to the way we would put on a zipper, you want to get close to the zipper teeth without sewing on the zipper. So when I'm sewing this down, I'm literally going to be right here. So on the side that's close to the outer edge, I'm going to be sewing, but close to the zipper teeth as I can get without actually hitting the zipper teeth, all the way around is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to take my time because I have these metal zipper teeth and I don't want to break. I only have 5 leather needles and hopefully I only need 1, but I'm going to take my time and make sure that I, again, get close to the zipper teeth and not cut into the zipper teeth. Okay, Terrence, I need to place my order. So for all those that don't know, Terrence has TerrenceWilliamsDesigns.com, I think is his website. Terrence, correct me if I'm wrong. He sells headbands amongst other things and has been doing what are the most recent headbands that you're working on, Terrence? Kamala Harris headbands. I think they all say Kamala Harris or VP headbands. And I follow him very closely. I know he's sold out several times, but he has those headbands amongst many others. I have some workout. Yes, Kamala Harris. Okay. Thank you, Terrence. I have some workout headbands that I use and I wear them to work out in. And then I have some other fashion headbands and I brought some for my niece. And so they are adjustable and very comfortable. So check them out if you aren't aware or haven't already. And then, of course, check out the new ones that he's just designed because I will be doing the same before they sell out again. Make sure that you get one. Okay, so with that said, let me add. Okay, I think you can see my sewing machine and I think you can see my sewing machine. So I'm not going to add my other screen. And wish me luck on this. This is going to be interesting. So, again, this is my first time sewing with leather. I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous about it, let's just say. Okay, here we go. And I'm trying to get close to my zipper teeth without going over my zipper teeth. So I'm very nervous. And I'm not using my zipper foot. I have found that. So I have a Bernina and I've found, and Terrence, tell me if you have this when you sew zippers. I found that my edge foot lets me get closer than my zipper foot. So yeah, there's that. So I've been using my edge foot lately. To sew zippers on my whatever. And I'm a person, I actually love zippers. I don't shy away from them. I love them because what I found after I got used to sewing them is that my clothes fit so much better when I have a zipper. Particularly, well, not particularly, always when I'm wearing a woven. I can go a size down, get the fit that I want. Yeah, so I actually really like doing zippers, particularly invisible zippers. Okay, so far, so good. This seems like it's working. I haven't broke my needle. It seems to be sewing it okay. Anybody sew with, but I know that all the bag guys and girlies who make bags sew with leather all the time. Anybody else sew with leather and have a comfort with it? I'm excited for this bag to turn out right, but I'm nervous at the same time. All right, I got to the end. I'm going to do a quick little back stitch. And hope that I got close enough. I'm hopeful that I got close enough to the zipper teeth. It could be better, but it's not horrible. I'm gonna turn it inside out so you can see. So if you could see that. So it's not horrible, but it definitely could be better. The type A person in me wants to go in again and do it again, but guess what? I am not. It's not horrible. Okay. So we are, let's see. So where are we? So we attach the upper lining under the clips on the opposite side of the zipper, which we did, basically sandwiching our zipper. Let me see. You said you have and you'll be fine with it. Just take my time. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Aisha. Okay, so then it says stitch using the zipper presser foot, or in my case, I use the edge foot. Then we're going to turn the right side out and we are going to press. So Aisha, again, so you who have sewn probably with leather or anyone else, I am not putting an iron to this. It's just not something that I have a comfort with, putting an iron to this. I'm just not. But tell me if anybody has any tips. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Anybody have any tips or thoughts about putting heat to the leather? Because the next step is to, and I did it with my denim bag, but the next step is to turn it inside out and basically press it so that you can get this really nice flat bag. And I want to press it, but I'm nervous. I don't want my bag to melt and I don't want my iron to be messed up. So drop it in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts are right now. And I do have I have some fabric that I can use to cover. In fact, I actually have this piece of denim that I was thinking about just laying over it and adding a little bit of heat, but I'm very nervous about it. So in the meantime, while you all are thinking about it, I'm going to turn my, oh, I need to plug it in. I'm going to turn my iron on so it can be ready to go. All right, there we go. So it'll be ready to go when we're ready. All right, so while we're thinking about that, the next thing that we are going to do, the next step is that we're going to attach the straight edge of the front and front, bottom, and lining. So we're going to get piece number 2. So here is our piece number 2, which is our front piece. So let me move this over to the side. Okay, so Aisha said, I don't iron leather, maybe a little steam kind of away from it, but if you haven't practiced it, I wouldn't recommend it. Hand press it or use your clapper. Yep, exactly, because I don't want to do all this work and then do something and it ends up, not looking great. So I feel like I can always, do something in the end, and it's not horrible. I mean, again, it's not super flat like how my denim one was, because, the steam is like magic. It will have something laying super flat, like it was made that way. So anyway, we're going to grab our front piece, which is our piece number 2. And we are going to right sides facing. So this is, again, our right side, this part. And this is my right side. I'm doing a little bit of color blocking, but just for reference, this is my side that has my, what is it? Lord, my brain is like not working great today. My batting, this is the side that has my batting, and then this is the other side. This is a lighter tan. You said, can I stay stitch it to lay right there? I could definitely stay stitch it if I needed to. I could definitely do it. I'm going to hold and see. I feel like it's okay. I think it's okay. I mean, this is the inside. You could see where it's not like laying super flat. If it laid flat, it would be like laying down. But I could but it would, I don't know if it would completely lay. I guess it would. It probably would. It probably would completely lay it. Maybe I will stay stitched. That's a great idea, Mary. Okay, so I am going to stay stitched because that is a really good idea, and I think it would help. So in the meantime, let me tell you what you're going to do, because I'm going to do that right after I stay stitch this piece. Is, hey, Chris, welcome. Thank you for joining. So this is your right side. Hey, Nikki, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for stopping by. Everyone who is on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, Nikki has just dropped in the chat to say hello, and we appreciate that. So you are going to take this piece number 2, and you are going to place it right sides facing. So here's my right side, and here is my right side. Again, the batting is on the other side, and this flat part. So let me just put it this way first. So you have your, let me make sure I'm doing it right. Let me see. Attach the straight edge of the front, bottom, and lining. Okay, straight edge. So here's our straight edge of number 2. We are putting our straight edge where the zipper part is. That is what we're doing. We're taking our straight edge. So you are literally going to line up, let me make sure. Right side's facing, line up the edges, right? Line up their edges. I made some little notes for myself so I can make sure. You're going to line up your edges. So let me just show you this again. All right, I'm holding it this way. Here we go. Right side. Here is, the right sides are facing. So here's my right side. Here's my right side. Right side, right side. You're going to make sure this raw flat edge is lined up with the flat edge of your piece that's already sewn to the zipper. You're going to line those flat edges up because you want those 2 pieces to be lined up when you sew them together. But you're going to also take the flat top part and you're going to line it up with the top part of that zipper. And you're going to clip that all the way along. So there's 2 things you want to make sure are lined up. Your flat edge right here, and then your top flat edge. So use as many clips. In my case, because I'm using leather, I am using tons of clips. But if you're using pins, then just use as many that you need to get that lining. And I'm going to clip this on, and then I will show you what it looks like, just in case what I said doesn't match up or there are still questions about what I said. So again, right sides facing, line up those edges, and then you're going to place, and we're working with piece number 2, which is our front piece. And you're going to line that flat top part up with, oops, my clip said they've had their life and they are breaking on me. And I have a whole nother thing of clips. I just don't know what I did with it. So I have to order another one from Wawac, which is, by the way, where I got my my flannel interfacing that I'm using in place of the batting, which is working great. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. This is what it looks like on the inside. Again, right sides are all facing each other. And then this is what it's going to look like, the top. So it's that flat top part that's lined up with the top of my zipper. Here's what the other side looks like. And then those edges, those edges on this side are even with each other on both sides. Both of my edges are lined up evenly. And then before we sew, we are literally going to do the same thing. We are going to place our lining piece. So we have our lining piece. Let me just make sure I did that right. Right side's facing, line up the edges, clip to the straight edge, place the lining over top, right side to right side. Oh, okay. Here we go. So here is the inside. This is the right side of the inside, right side of our front. And I think that is right, that we're placing this right side to right side. Let me just make sure I'm looking at my pictures. Other side of the zipper, right, that is right. In the same manner as the upper front. All right, press pause real quick. Let me just make sure before I tell you that that is right. Because I want to make sure we sandwich that and we're sandwiching this. I like to use the word sandwich because I think that helps me understand which side I'm putting this on. Nope, I think it is this side. Yes, okay. So I just wanted to make sure because I did put in there right side to right side. So it is, here's your right side of your inside. You're going to take the right side of your lining of your front piece. They're going to be facing each other. And you are going to do the same exact thing, right side to right side. You're going to line up that raw edge. I'm sorry, the side edge. Well, it's the raw edge, but it's the side. And you're going to clip that to the top, the flat part. So again, you have that. The right side of the lining should be facing the right side of the lining. And now I'm just taking my clips, I'm lifting them up and adding my lining. So when I sew it, I'm sewing both pieces on at once. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm doing, just so you can see. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So the line, you're seeing the wrong side of the lining because the right side is facing the other right side. And then this is what the other side looks like. So you're seeing the batting piece of the front. So the batting piece of the front is on one side. You're seeing the wrong side of that. And then you're seeing the wrong side of the lining piece. And so we're going to literally do the exact same thing we did before, which is that we are going to stitch all the way around as close to the teeth as possible without sewing over our teeth. Making sure that you back stitch at the ends. And so we're going to do that right now. And again, I'm going to take my time because this is leather and I don't want any problems. And here we go. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. And I'm just going super slow because I'm just so nervous I'm going to hit this metal. Tooth and break, metal zipper teeth and break my my needle. Oh, you know what? I literally forgot to understitch. I think I can still do it. Nikki, if you're still on, when you did your leather, your bag with that leather, did you put heat to it? Did you iron it? Did you press it? Fingers crossed that I am getting very close to the zipper teeth. I'm very nervous. Okay, here we go. Let me go back. All right, let's see. All right, let me see what this side looks like. Okay, it's not horrible. It could be better. Same as before. It could be better, but it's not horrible. So it could be better, but it's not horrible. And this is what it looks like on what will be the inside. And this is what it looks like, what will be the outside of the bag. I'm very excited about this. It's looking really good. Really, really good. So let me see. Erica, how are you doing? Anybody else sewing along? If you do sew along, please tag me. I love, and tag Nikki Beaute Ja'Dore. Make sure you tag her as well. So I am going to take a couple minutes and I am actually going to I'm going to do a stay stitch, or really an understitch, to this, just to see if it will help it lay down where I'm not pressing it. So let's see. It's going to be on the inside, so it does not have to be perfect, but I do feel like it might be helpful. So I'm going to try to do that. That was a great idea. And I have my edge stitch foot on, so it's going to be easy to do, to just add that. You said yes, you covered it with a cloth. Okay. All right. I'm doing an edge stitch, Nikki, but because I wanted that part to lay down, but I might try both. I've got my, I have got my my iron heating up, so I'm always nervous, like I'm so nervous. You said I attached piece 3 upside down. Just got done seam ripping. Oh, okay. All right. Well, while you're doing that, I am going to I'm going to edge stitch and add a little bit of heat to get this to lay flat. How is mom doing? Is mom doing good, Erica? Again, the instructions do not call for an edge stitch, but I'm doing this as a, you know, a method to try to help keep that little piece of leather down. And I'm like 90% done. All right, let's see. So it's not like the most perfect, but it is on the inside, so you're not going to be able to really see it. Hey, Dee. You said she's surviving. Okay, okay. Well, we're waiting for her. She needs us to wait. We are not leaving her. All right, I'm going to press some heat on here. I got my little piece of fabric. All right, I got to put a little water in my, it's out of water, so bear with me while I put some water in here. All right, got our water, and we're going to add our steam. Pray for me. All right, here we go. Let's see what we're working with here. I'm nervous. You said you was praying. I'm praying too. I am praying. Okay, let's see. Ooh, it's hot too. Let me see. I mean, it is making it soft. That is for sure. It's not as stiff as it was where I put the steam on. So let's see. Let us see. We're going to add a little bit more steam. I should have, to Aisha's point, I should have practiced steaming it with a piece of like fabric that I didn't care about. Not my final pieces. Okay, let's see. Yeah, definitely like melts it down. That's for sure. I will say that it helped. It's not as stiff. That is for sure. It is not stiff. I'm going to do one more little to the middle. The steam burned my finger. The only other thing I really want to do is I didn't think I wanted to. That steam tore my finger up, but I think I do. I think I want to edge stitch this piece because I want to make sure I don't have any problems with the lining getting stuck in the zipper. So I'm going to just edge stitch this piece. Oh my goodness, I think I burnt my finger. It's burning. All right, pray for me. My finger is not burned. Ouch. Again, this is not part of the requirement, but because I'm doing leather, I do think it is helpful. All right. Hey, Tydree. Okay, so I did add that understitching. This is what the outside looks like. It is laying flatter. I know you probably can't tell much of a difference, but it is laying flatter. And so the next thing we want to do is we are going to make sure that our zipper is like unzipping well. So just that you're not having any problems with your zipper. So I just unzip in mine, make sure I'm not having any problems with my zipper. Again, I did not cut the edge. So Nikki, I was non-compliant. I did not cut my little zipper thing off. I'm just going to tuck it on the inside. But my zipper is zipping really well. So this is looking really good. I'm very happy with it so far. And this is what the inside looks like. If you're able to see that. I did put that edge stitch in place just to make sure I don't have any problems with my lining getting stuck in my zipper. I feel like it's going to help with that piece, that part of it. Okay, so we are now going to be attaching our, let's see, are we attaching our webbing? Let me see. Nope. We turned the right sides out. We pressed it. And then with the zipper closed and the zipper pull out the way. So you do want to close your zipper, take your zipper, pull out the way. You said use the shaper you use for curves. Yeah, well, great point. Great point. That's a great point to get that. And I do have that. I have that piece over there. So I'm going to grab that in a minute. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate it. Hi, Divya. Welcome. Thank you for joining. Happy Friday. So turn our right sides out, press. We should have done that part just now. And then we're going to make sure that our zipper works. And then we're going to make sure our zipper is closed. So we're going to pull our zipper, pull out the way. And then we're going to take our piece number 4s. Here we go. Our piece number 4s. So look, I remember I told you I was color blocking. I need y'all to wish me luck for this because I did make a mistake in how I cut my things. So I cut them I didn't fold it in half and cut them. I cut did I put this the wrong way? Yes, I cut 2 brown and 2 white going the same direction, which they need to be, if you're not going to, if you fold your fabric over top of each other, if you fold it like this and then you cut it, you're going to already have 2 pieces that mirror. I didn't do that. I cut one and then I cut another one. And so I have two white colored pieces that are going in the same direction and two brown colored pieces that are going in the same. Lucky for me, they were going opposite directions, so I did not have to cut yet another. So I'm saving those other two pieces for another bag that I'm going to do. But I am going to be attaching our piece number 4s. They will be two different colors. So one brown and one white. And you're looking again at the right side. So how do we attach our piece number 4s? Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. I'm excited. Look, this is going to be my first leather bag. I'm very excited. I almost want to like emboss my name on it, like make it a designer bag. Okay, so we're going to take our piece number 4. And so when you're thinking about how you are putting on your piece number 4, you are going to, again, right sides facing, make sure that this little pointed piece is facing down and this little short piece is facing toward the zipper. So let me show you what I mean by that. And let me make sure I have wrong one. Okay, so this is going to be, nope, that is the right one. See, did I do it? Do I have the wrong one? Is that right? Oh, here we go. All right, now I got it right. So here's our pointed piece right here. So this is your bag. Let's say this is your bag. This is your front piece. This is your top front or your upper front piece. And this is your piece number 4. It should be facing in this direction with this longer part facing out towards the edge of the bag and the shorter part facing towards the zipper and the pointed part facing towards the front and the short part facing towards the top. So this is the way that it should be positioned. So I'm just going to hold this here so you could take a look at it for a minute of how it should be. And I'm actually going to line up my raw edges. So you see I have my zipper here. It's sticking out a little bit. You want to line it up with the edges. So here is the edge right here. And I'm lining up this piece with that edge. And I'm taking clips and I am clipping it all in place. But it's important that you have it faced in this direction. So right side, this is my right side facing the right side of the fabrics. And then I'm placing my clips. So Dee said, I want to learn how to emboss. That would be so cool. Right? It would be. I think, I can't remember if it was Suki or So Moted Bee, I think is what her handle is. Somebody just recently did embossing. And I thought, oh, this looks super cool. I have no idea what's involved with it, but it definitely looks super cool. All right, so again, I am clipping this down. And I'm going to be extra, extra careful with how I sew over this, my zipper. But this is what it should look like. Again, that pointed part facing down, the short part facing towards the zipper, the longer part facing out. You want to line it up with the edge. And then you're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I have to look in the mirror myself and make sure I'm doing it right. Okay, here we go. Exact same thing. The longer edge, the pointed part facing down. And you're going to line up those raw edges. And and we still have to add one more piece, which is our lining, our piece number 4, which is our side lining piece. So I'm just going to hold this up here so you can see what this looks like. This is how it is clipped on right here. I'm also trying to make sure they're both pretty even. to I think it's going to be cool. I wanted them both. The intention was for them both to be white because again, I'm using this, but I'm also making it detachable. So Nikki, I don't know if you're still there, but I'm doing mine a little bit different in that I am making it so that I can add different straps on. So when I get different kinds of webbing that is cool, I could just add them on. So we're going to talk a little bit about both ways, the way that Nikki instructs us to do it, and then the way that I'm going to do it, which allows me a little bit more flexibility to have different types of straps onto the bag. But this is where we're at right now. We are attaching our piece number 4. This is how it looks. Erica, let me know how you're doing. How you and mom are doing. Are you where you're at? The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to, let me make sure are we doing our stitch down? Let me see. Zipper close, put on the side, back. Oh yeah, we have to add our lining. Okay, so yes, I was thinking about it, Nikki, because I was like, I like this, but I've been searching different kinds of like webbing and stuff, and I really want to do something a little bit different. So I'm like, I don't want to have to make it all over again. So I'm going to make this strap, but then I could always use this strap for something else, like attach it to a different kind of bag or something. So I'm making it so that both sides will come off, and then I can add a different strap on if I want to add a different strap. So fingers crossed. Okay, so we are going to we need to add our lining pieces. And let me see. So we are going to sandwich our zipper between the lining. So basically we have one lining on this side, and then we are going to put our other lining piece on this side. And so again, like we've done all the other ones, it is right sides together. So you want to make sure that your lining looks the same as this. It's faced in the same direction, but it is on the inside. And so you're literally going to do the exact same thing. You're going to lift up your clamps or lift up your pins, and you're going to clip on that lining. Right sides facing in and the pointed part facing down. So I'm going to show you what it's going to look like. It's probably hard to tell on the camera what side is the wrong side, but this is right side. You can see my pointed part is facing down. The short part is at the top. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm very nervous about stitching over this zipper, because this zipper is like, don't play games with me. If you put that needle into me, I'm going to break your needle. It's definitely saying that. Okay. So here's what it looks like on both sides. Chardonnay, do you have an Instagram or a blog? I want to check out the rest of your sewing makes. You have great style. Thank you so much. So I do have an Instagram. It is So Sophisticated Designs. Let me see if I can type it in really quick. So Sophisticated Designs. That is my Instagram. And I do have a blog. It is Let's Get Social. So the same .com. letsgetsocial.com is my blog as well. But Instagram probably has more of my like pictures of my finished products, and then the sew alongs are all going to be on YouTube. And then I do have So Sophisticated Designs TikTok as well. So this is what it looks like on the inside. And this is what it looks like on the outside before we sew it. And then let me make sure we're not adding our, let me see. Okay, so we are now going to, thank you, Chardonnay. I appreciate you checking it out and I appreciate you joining today. So then we're going to do a stitch straight down the side. Again, our seam allowance is 3/8 of an inch. Be careful, take your time sewing over your zipper. Oh, wait a minute. Before we do that, we need to make sure that our zipper pull is on the inside. That was very important. So take your zipper pull. You might need to take a clip out and just unzip it down just a little bit so it sits right inside. Well, you pull it down enough so you have enough to sew so you don't hit your zipper pull, but you want it to sit like right on the inside. So like here's where mine will be. And then you are going to take the other pieces and clip it back on, because then we're going to go straight across, but our zipper pull should be right on the inside. So that's a very important part, because you don't want to stitch it out, because then you're not going to be able to get it back in. And you want it to be on the inside, because this right here, you will cut off. You will cut off the best that you can. Or in my case, I like balled it up and put it on the inside of my thing. I don't recommend that. I recommend trying to cut it off. We're going to see what I can do. I don't know about these teeth. I'm very nervous. I don't want to mess my scissors up, but I'm going to try to cut it off. So anyway, zipper pull on the inside, but you want to pull it down enough so that when you are stitching at your 3/8 of an inch seam allowance, that you do not zip over or sew over your zipper pull. So make sure you have it down enough to where you don't have any problems. So with that said, we are going to do a straight stitch down on both sides. And Erica, let me know where you're at. Check in with me. I'm not going to leave you and mom behind. All right, and now I am, again, just making sure that I have everything lined up the way it's supposed to be. Pray for me. We don't have any problems with this zipper. Okay, here we go. And so far, I'm not having any problems sewing through all these layers of leather. I was nervous about that part too, but we'll see. Here's our first kind of test. This is where I think the leather needle. Okay, pray for me. Okay, here we go. All right, I made it through one. All right, I made it through two, both of the zippers. All right, I made it through. I'm back stitching now. Fingers crossed. Okay, it looks like it's okay. Look at that. It made it. It made it. That's what it looks like on the inside. It's nice and clean. I'm very happy with that. That's what it looks like on the outside. And this is what it looks like on the inside. Rosalind, yes, you can absolutely use a nylon zipper with it. Nylon zipper will not be a problem. I'm just using a metal zipper, and I did use a metal zipper for this one, but you should not have a problem using a nylon zipper. I don't see you'll have any issue. In fact, it'll be easier to cut through it, much easier than having to deal with this. Look at that. Doesn't this look good? I love this. I'm very excited. Okay, so one side down, fingers crossed, one side to go. Rosalind, if you're sewing along with us, let me know if you have any questions, or if you plan to sew this after the fact. Let me know if you have any questions about what we've done so far. I'm very happy to help. Again, for those that are not aware, you can get this pattern. I'm going to drop it in the chat. www.beauteja'Dore.com. And it is, look for, oh, wait a minute. Let me see. I got to type. You're going to look for, it's called the Chandler. If I can type. Chandler Fanny pack. There you go. And I will put it on here. Thank you, RF Beads. Welcome. Thank you so much for crossing your fingers. Hi, Tess. Welcome. Thank you, everyone, for joining and watching. Thank you, RF Beads. I appreciate you. So we're going to do this other side. Thank you all for crossing your fingers, saying your little prayers, because they did come in handy. And now we're going to repeat. We're going to rinse and repeat for the second side. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. 3/8 of an inch seam allowance is what we are working with here. All right. Now this is going to be tricky because the zipper is closed and it is not going through this closed zipper. So what I'm going to do is I am going to just move it over a little bit. I have to figure this part out for how I am going to secure that zipper piece. Okay. Okay, there we go. I just skipped over the zipper part because it was not going through the closed zipper. It's much easier to go through the open zipper. It was not going through the closed zipper. And just doing a little bit of back stitching. And there we go. Let's look at what we have here. Okay, so this is what the other side looks like. Not bad, not bad. And here is what the finished side looks like. So this is what it's going to look like with these two different sides. It's not horrible. I think it would have looked better if they were both the same color, but we'll see. We'll see. There we go. All right. So inside and outside. Outside and inside. Here we go. Oh, look at my elbows. I need some lotion on. Okay, so let's talk about what we're doing next. So we have let's talk about what we've done so far, and then we're going to talk about what we're doing next. So what have we done so far? So far we have basically cut out all our pattern pieces, made sure that we have our webbing. Well, we actually haven't dealt with the webbing yet. We are making sure that we have our batting cut and fused onto, or fused, stitched, however you're going to do that, onto your pattern pieces on the wrong side. Making sure that, again, you have it at least 3/8 of an inch seam allowance cut off of your batting so it fits right perfectly on the inside. Here is a reference of what it should look like. This is our last piece that we're going to be sewing on in a minute. And then we have sewed our zipper onto our upper front. We've sewn it onto our lower front. And then we have just attached both of our side pieces so far. So, and then we also have our lining. So each time that we've sewn on our upper front, we also attached our lining, sewing it all in one piece. Same thing with our lower front piece and our side pieces. So the next thing that we are actually going to be doing is we are now going to be, make sure I'm not missing anything. We are now going to be, of the back, we are going to be adding on the back piece. So let's see. Clip and pin the straight edge of the back, which is this piece. So it says sew the side, then the front, then the other. Right. So it is, so Mary, it is the upper front. The zipper goes onto the upper front first. Then let's say the lower front, or on the pattern piece, it's just called the front. Then you're sewing on the front. So it's upper front, then the front, which is the bottom part of the front, and then the sides. So that's the order that it goes in. Upper front onto the zipper, lower front or the front onto the zipper, and then the sides. And then the last pattern piece that we are actually sewing on is our back piece. And so, but before we do that, let me just make sure that we are not doing our webbing. Nope, we are doing our back piece first. So it says, the next thing is on the back side, place, oh, we did that. We already did this piece 4. So let's see. Clip the straight edge of the back piece 1. Is the back piece 1? Yes, it is. So back is piece number 1. We are taking our straight edge, which is this top part. So you're looking at the right side. So right side's facing, we're going to take, let me hold this like this. So here is my right side. We're going to take our back piece, which is this piece, and we are going to pin the top part of this. So right side's facing. This is the top of the back piece. We are going to make it flush with the top of the front pieces. We're going to pin all of those pieces across the top together. Clip, or in my case, I'm going to clip them. So I'm going to do it and then show you what it will look like. So again, that's the straight part of it, is the top. Oh, 20 messages. Let me see. Art Beads, thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Hey, Shamir. Thank you for stopping by. Happy Friday. I really did burn my finger. Make sure I can see it. It's burnt. That steam was not a joke. I keep saying, if you've been sewing with me long enough, you've heard me say I need to get those steam gloves, because the steam is not kind to me. I've burned my hands with that steam more times than I want to admit. Okay, so this is what it would look like. Right sides all facing each other. And here's what it looks like on the other side so far. And so let's see what we're doing. So we have pinned our back to the top of the upper front, which is piece number 3. And then we're going to stitch across and press the seam allowance flat so that it lays open. So we are not yet attaching our lining. This time's a little bit different. We're just literally going to be stitching across just this back piece. Again, right sides facing, just stitching across the top of the back. So that's what we're going to do right now, all the way across. Again, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance is what we're working with. So we're going to do that right now. All right, so far so good. No problems with the leather. Getting through all the layers. It's doing its thing. It's not having any problems, which I was very nervous about. And it's going so well. No problems at all. Getting right to this last little edge, this end piece. And then I'm going to do a nice little back stitch. All right, so here we go. Let me make sure. Okay, it did go through. I was nervous that it would. Okay, so here's what it looks like. It is attached. Here's what it looks like on the inside. You can't really see it because for some reason it just, the stitch line sunk into the leather, so you can't even see the stitch line. It just sunk in there, but it is in there. Thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Tata. Thank you for the gift. I appreciate it. Okay, so now that we have added our back on, we need to, so now we're going to talk about the webbing. Let's talk about the webbing. All right, so I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. It's not really that much different from the instructions in the pattern. Not really that much different. As I mentioned earlier, one of the things that I want to do is to be able to swap out my strap, this little part right here. I want to be able to swap it out. And so I did it on this one, and I'm going to do it on this one as well. So what I am doing is I am going to be basically attaching two, these are two 3-inch leather pieces. You could use webbing too. It doesn't have to be leather. I'm just using leather because my bag is leather scraps. So I'm going to be attaching a piece of leather. Oh, I got to use my D-ring. So I'm going to be putting my D-ring in just like this, making sure that it's evenly lined up. Because it is, so let me talk a little bit about what I'm doing and why I'm doing what I'm doing. because you do have some options. So this is leather. It looks pretty good. I am not creating a piece that doesn't, so you're going to see the raw edges of this. I'm not like folding it over and creating a narrow, you know, 1.5 inch piece. These are 1.5 inch D-rings, and this is a 1.5 strip. And my webbing is also 1.5 that I'm using. So, but you could use 1 inch. And in fact, I think is what is recommended in the, oh no, you know what? There is no specific size, but definitely you can use, I use 1 inch. This is 1 inch. So I use 1 inch on this one. I'm using 1.5 inch. Whatever you do decide to use in terms of your webbing, you want to make sure that all of your hardware matches. So if you're using 1.5 inch webbing or leather or whatever you're using, you want to make sure that your D-ring and your adjustable mechanism and your clips are all 1.5 inch. Same thing if you're going to use 1 inch, you want to make sure that it is all 1 inch. Your D-ring, your clasp, your swivel clasp, and everything is, and your adjustable is 1 inch, because it'll look too big. It won't look nice and neat. So anyway, one of the things that I'm doing so that I can have I can swap out my my strap is that I am going to be taking this and taking a 3-inch piece, folding it in half, or putting my D-ring in, folding it in half, and I'm going to be clipping it on to the top of, and let me see where she has us line it up. She has us line it up on the front of the upper edge. So this is the back. So this is the upper edge. So it's basically right here. I'm taking this piece and I am lining it up. So it's basically lined up with the seam. And I'm going to clip and I'm going to do a basting stitch right in here. And what that is going to do is it's going to create this little piece right here that I can then clamp on different pieces of different straps on from time to time. So this is my webbing that I'm using today, but I might want a leather piece of webbing, or I might create another piece that I like better in the future that matches more or is less sporty or more dressy. And so I want the ability to be able to swap it out from time to time. And so because of that, I don't want to permanently fix my strap onto my bag. Nothing wrong with it, but it's definitely preference. So what I basically did is I cut 3-inch pieces of webbing, of leather, and you could definitely cut 3-inch length piece of webbing if you're using webbing, and you will fold it in half, put your D-ring in, and then fold it in half so that when we stitch it together, it is permanently fixed to your bag. And so you can swap out your strap, which we will create in a little bit, because I'm creating mine out of webbing, and so that part will be the same. So I'm clipping this on here like this, basically creating 2 3-inch pieces of leather that I'm folding in half, attaching to my D-ring on, and it's going to allow me to add the strap and completely remove the strap or add different straps. So this is one option that you have. And that's the option that I'm going to do. The other option that you have which is what is in the instructions, and it's a totally viable option as well. It's really about preference at this point, is that you will take one piece of webbing. And so the way that you're going to basically have a 30-inch piece of webbing. So 30 inches of webbing. This is more than 30 inches, but 30 inches of webbing. You're going to cut that 30 inches into 2 pieces. One piece is going to be 7 inches long, and you're going to take that short piece and you're going to leave it, open like this. You're going to just basically clip on one side on this end, and you're going to leave the other side open, because I'll tell you about how you're going to deal with this other end. You're going to basically fold it. You're going to put your D-ring on and then fold it to create a closed piece. So it would be like this. And so nothing wrong with this, doing it this method either. But you'll do this part after the fact. So for right now, for this step, if you're going to do the other method, you will just take your 7-inch piece of webbing and you are going to just clip on one side, because we're going to base stitch it in one side. And then you are going to take your other piece of webbing. Let's just assume your other 23-inch piece. Let's just assume that this is that other piece. And let's see. And you are going to attach that other 23-inch, one edge of that other 23-inch piece. And then basically you're going to take we're going to baste down. So it's going to go in terms of where you're going to place it. You're going to line it up with the top of this seam allowance of the front piece. I'm sorry. So this is the back piece. Let me take this out the picture so you don't see it. So basically you're going to line both sides up so that it is right along with this edge, the raw edge here, and the seam allowance. You're going to line it up just like that on both sides. So one side is going to be the 7-inch piece and the other side is going to be the 23-inch piece. So in my case, I am going to clamp both sides. And then when you have all of those pieces in the middle, stitched on, after you base stitch, you want to make sure that you clip them together so that they are neatly placed in the middle, because we are then going to be sewing on, we're going to then be sewing on, I think it is the lining. Oh yes, I'm sorry. We're going to be folding the back to the front like this and sewing this round part. And so you do not want any of your, webbing to get caught up in that. So after we do this basting stitch here and a basting stitch here, the next thing that we're going to do, and I'll say it again, is that we are going to fold this over just like this. And we're going to clip this all around, and your webbing is going to be in this middle. And you do not want it to get kind of caught up as you're stitching around the edge. So you want to make sure that you fold it really nice and neat. Maybe use some clips. Maybe even open up this zipper and stick it inside of there, like partially open it and stick it in there a little bit. But whatever you do, you want to make sure that it's nice and neat so that when you fold this over and start to sew all the way around, that you do not end up sewing in your webbing. So first things first, let us put a basting stitch in the seam allowance, within the seam allowance. Because again, you're going to sew, you want it to be less than 3/8 of an inch, because you don't want that stitch to show when you sew this front piece onto the back onto the front. You don't want it to show, or at least in my case, I can't take out that basting stitch because it'll leave holes in it. So I'm sewing it within the seam allowance, and I recommend you sew it in the seam allowance. And then the next thing we're going to do is fold this over and clamp it all the way around and do our stitch all the way around. So first things first, let us sew this. And I'm just want to check in, Erica, see how you and Mom are doing. Let me know how you're doing, where you're at, how I can help. I'm not going to leave you behind. Let me know. The other thing is just a reminder, if you are doing it the way that I am doing it, you want to make sure that you include both of your D-rings in there, because you're actually creating the complete loop at one time. So make sure you have your D-rings already included. All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm just taking my time. Sewing my edge stitch. And this is a basting stitch. It's supposed to be. I did a regular stitch just because I want it to be super reinforced. But that is what it's going to look like. You could see that piece. And now I'm doing the other side. Same thing. Lining up that raw edge, sewing in my seam allowance. And in my case, I'm making sure that I have my D-rings on because, again, I'm creating just like a loop for, I'm creating just a loop for where my straps will go. Ooh. Okay. And this is what the other one looks like. Still in the seam allowance. So this is what we have so far. I don't know why this doesn't stay. Hi, Frida. Welcome. Let me know if you're sewing along and let me know if you are working on something. I'm always eager to hear what other people are working on. Okay, so we have our webbing attached, or our whatever you're using to attach your straps. You should have that attached. Again, this is one way, or you could have the other way, which is a 7-inch piece that is straight with no attachment on it. It will just be one end will be stitched on, and then you'll have the other one end stitched on at the other side. That's all we were doing for this part. And then the next thing is to fold the front to the back. And let's see. Okay, we're going to take this back right here and we're going to literally fold it down just like this. Now I need to, one of the things I do need to do is I need to cut this. And, ooh, thank you. Do not drop that on my foot. Okay. So before I do that, I actually need to cut off the zipper. And I'm very nervous about cutting it because, again, these teeth are not to be played with. Oh, okay, that wasn't bad. See, fear should not hold you back. Okay, look, they both came off really easy. They're gone. There we go. See, I should have bended that and I didn't. So now it's tucked in. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I am literally taking my back piece, I'm folding it down over my front, and I am going to start clipping using these clips and clipping them all around, because the next step is to stitch all the way around. And I think we are adding, yes, we're going to be adding our lining first, then we're going to be stitching all the way around. So I'm actually going to, I have some like extra leather here. I'm cutting that off on that end. Cutting that off. So right sides facing, I am taking and I am clipping all the way around, making sure that all my raw edges are lined up. And again, this is where it's really helpful to make sure you, even though I don't think it's going to be a huge issue, but if you had your batting, you know, you didn't put it into your seam allowance, it will definitely make sure it's a little bit less to stitch through, less layers to stitch through. And I'm just making sure everything is oh, wait a minute. Oh, so another part you want to make sure that you do. Okay. So this side is on the inside and this side is not on the inside. So I need to make sure both of my D-rings are on the inside. I almost stitched it out. So you should not see any of your webbing. You shouldn't see any of it. It should all be sandwiched on the inside. So this is what it should look like before we attach our lining piece on. But all of our webbing should be on the inside of our bag. It should be on the inside. So the next part is that we are going to place our lining on top of the zipper front. We're going to place the lining on top of the zipper front and pin and clip it under the original clip. So you are literally, let me make sure, stitch in place on all four sides, remembering to leave a 5-inch opening. So the other part that we need to make sure when we are stitching on this, we need to make sure that we leave an opening, a 5-inch opening. But before you do that, let me make sure, before you attach your line, let me make sure I'm not leaving out any step. Okay, so we're going to fold the back to the front, which we did with right sides together. The webbing should be in the middle, which it is. And making sure again that it's out of the way, so when we do stitch around that we don't stitch any of our webbing in accidentally. It says we're going to clip and pin the parameter, leaving a 5-inch opening to allow us to turn the bag right side out. So when we are stitching, again, we're going to stitch. Is this side stitched on? Yes. Oops. So we need to leave a opening, preferably probably in this bottom part, like a 5-inch opening that will allow us to, once we stitch all of the rest of this, it's going to allow us to turn this bag right side out. So before we attach our lining piece on, we are literally going to stitch all the way around, and I'm going to leave my opening at this bottom part. I think that's probably the best. Let me see, where did yes, I feel like that is where Nikki left hers, this opening down the bottom. So I'm going to literally stitch from here to here. I'm going to leave this opening and then stitch again from here to here, because that's going to allow us to turn this bag right side facing out. And then we're going to place the lining on top of the zipper front, and after we stitch, okay, then we're going to place the lining on top of the zipper front and pin and clip the lining under the original clips. Stitch in place on all four sides, remembering to leave the 5-inch opening. leaving 5-inch opening to allow you to turn the bag. Place the lining on top of the zipper front, pin and clip. Oh, you said opening is just for the lining. So it's not for the leather piece. Thank you, Shamir. Because I was looking at that and I was like, wait a minute, that's going to be hard. Right, because we're going to be able to turn this just even through the zipper. You're just going to be able to flip it inside out. So scratch that part. Let's start all over. Thank you so much, Shamir. I was like, let me make sure this is right. So we're going to stitch all the way around. We are not leaving a 5-inch opening on the leather piece. We will be doing it for the lining piece, but we're not leaving it for the leather piece. So and I thought, I'm trying to think about when I made that bag. I feel like I stitched my lining on at the same time. And I did leave my opening for the lining. But let's do this. Oh, what are you saying, Carmen? Are you saying add the lining on at the same time or no? I don't have, oh, you're saying unclip this part of the lining. Okay, got it. Thank you. Now I remember. Thank you. Now I remember when Shamira said that. So when you are clipping, so I'm taking it all off, scratch everything. And so Erica, if you and your mom have done that part, please, I hope you haven't done that part yet. So when you are turning down this piece, you are not going to include your lining. You're just going to be doing just your leather or your fabric pieces. Let's just call it fabric pieces. In my case, I'm doing leather. And so you're not going to clip your lining on at this part. You said you've been watching the Bad Girlies. Yeah, look. So I'm like, I did it one time and Carmen kind of helped me through this part. And so I was trying to remember what we did the last time. And I watched it a little bit, the video again, just to make sure. So we're just clipping our leather pieces. Now, you do have these pieces right here where you're going to just, it's already attached because of the way we sewed everything together. So I know that this is different from the way that we did it, Carmen, but this is we were following Nikki's instructions. So for this part right here, it's already attached because the way that the instructions have it. So it shouldn't be a big deal because the main key is that you're going to be able to leave that opening so you can turn your lining out. So you're literally going to go right on this side, and then where your lining is not, like my lining is already attached right here, all the way up to this point, it's already attached. So it's nothing I can do about that part. So I'm just going to literally sew from this side all the way around and then to this end, because this end is already sewn as well. And then we are going to work on our lining. Yeah, no opening for the main fabric, and don't attach the lining to the outer fabric. Now the lining, and again, the lining, you're not attaching it to the outer fabric for this back part, but it is already attached to this part. All these side pieces and this part are already attached because of the way we sewed it together. So that part will be okay, but not this bottom piece. You are not sewing the bottom piece on. Thank you, ladies. See, look, this is why I love sewing on our platform, because we always got somebody here that's going to help us get it together. Okay, so let me just show you what we're doing just to clarify. Okay, so this is the back piece. We've now flipped. You said wait. You said seam rip. I can't seam rip my straight part because I have leather and I'm not putting any holes in mine. So all the way, this part, everything that we've sewn up to this part is following the exact directions, except for this part, what we're doing right now. So this straight part, how it's all connected, is going to just be connected on the inside. It'll just be connected. It's not going to be like a loose, separate, you know, like how it is on this one. This one is completely separate. My lining is completely separate, but for this one, it's not completely separate. It's connected. The back and the front are connected as one piece. So you said not well, when I'm looking at, so when I look at, so hold, for those that are sewing on, just hold on one piece, one step, because I don't want you to have to use your seam ripper, particularly if you have leather. So when let's see. So leave 5-inch opening to allow you to turn the back right side out. So when I saw Nikki do hers, I didn't see her leave an opening for the leather piece, but she did leave an opening for the lining piece. And I feel like when you sew this together, when you sew this leather piece together, you're going to be able to just open up your zipper, which, by the way, you do need to open a little bit to allow you to be able to. So I'm glad that you said that. So you do need to, before you sew all the way around, you do need to open up your zipper just somewhat so that you can be able to turn it. So I feel like you're going to be able to turn it completely just by flipping. You said the lining, the opening on the lining is on the straight way of the lining. Okay, so we can still do it that we can still add the opening. I see what you're saying. You're saying that the opening piece is right here, is at the top part. Hold on, let me see. So, okay, so to the point that you're making. So this, I mean, you can, so let me back up because I want to make sure for people that are following along. So when we sewed on our lining piece, we did that stitch that was across right here. You could, let's see. You think the bottom will work too. So I think, so you could have stitched the two leather pieces and left this lining piece open. You could have left it open at the top. And so that way, when you add the lining, we're not to that part yet, but when you added it, you would basically leave that opening at the top. I think the way that Nikki does it is she's leaving her opening at the bottom piece. So this, because again, we already, her instructions are to, you know, basically sew across this top piece. So when we do add this lining piece, when we add it, we're not there yet, but when we do add it, you basically can leave open a hole, a 5-inch hole in here that will then allow you, right, lining to lining, right, that will then allow you to flip the lining piece. But so what Carmen was saying is, hey, don't attach the lining across the top because you can leave the hole in the top. But I think you can also probably leave the hole in the bottom. When I did that one, Carmen and I were working on it together, so I left the hole in the top, but we followed the instructions that are in the pattern piece so far. And so if you follow those instructions, you will have stitched this top piece already across. And so the question really is, and I wish Nikki was still on here so she can kind of talk us through, because I don't remember her leaving an opening for the leather part, because you will be able to flip that just by flipping right through your zipper. So, all right, so let's pick up where we are at this point, just again, for those that are sewing along. One of the things I didn't tell you to do, which you do need to do, is you need to partially open your zipper, because if you have it fully closed and you sew your leather all the way around, you're going to have a hard time trying to open this zipper. So you do want to make sure that you leave it open enough that you can unzip your bag, because you will need to unzip it to be able to turn it on the other side. So unzip it as much that you can get your hand in there and pull your zipper down like that. So mine is already clipped, but I unclipped it and then made sure I zipped it down. So once you have it zipping enough where you can basically fully unzipping it where you need to. Again, you also have on this inside, remember, you also have all of your webbing that you want to make sure is neatly tied into that so that you don't get it caught up when you're sewing it all the way around. Then you're going to kind of flip your lining up a little bit and just clamp the leather to the leather piece. And so because when we attached our side pieces, we stitched a little bit on this side also when we attached our webbing. So some of this is already, connected. I guess you could have technically lifted it up and not had it sewn on. And that way you would have all of your lining free and clear. But the main thing is that you want to just have enough where you can turn it on the other side. So what you are going to do, because at this point we've already stitched down this piece, or some of this piece where it's connected, where you're connecting piece number 4, which is the side to the main front pieces. They're connected here. So basically what you're going to do is just go down the side, because you do need to, you need to stitch on your webbing pieces. We have a basting stitch right now holding it together, but we're going to put our real stitch in. And so basically you're going to go from side all the way down, making sure that you don't stitch your bottom piece of your lining, but you're going to go all the way around, all the way up to the other side. So let's do that piece first. Okay, so Marilyn's saying lining to lining the way you have done it. Okay, sew the bag together, then sew the lining, and then you will have to hand stitch the lining at the straightaway. Okay, so yes. So, but instead we're going to hand stitch it at the bottom part, since we've already stitched down the straightaway. But Marilyn, you are absolutely correct. That's exactly what Carmen was saying earlier. And I think in Nikki's instructions, she just has us do it in the bottom part, I think, unless I misread something, but I think we're going to be okay. All right, so we're going to pick up where we left off just for instructional purposes. We're going to stitch from the top in our seam allowance all the way around, not stitching our lining all the way around here. And then we're going to open up our zipper and turn our bag right side out is what we're going to do. Okay, so here we go. And I'll do it and then just show you. That way, if we have any questions, we can kind of work from there. All right, again, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance is our seam allowance that we're working with. And I'm just turning. Oh, wait a minute. I'm lifting up my foot and I'm turning. To stay in my seam allowance, making sure my raw edges are lined up and even. So far, so good. if you all can see. And almost to the other end. I'm just making sure that my little zipper edge does not get caught up in here. So I'm just moving it out the way. Okay, there we go. And I'm doing a little bit of a back stitch. Okay. All right, and I'm just going to show you this really quick, what it's going to look like. Fingers crossed. No problem. I just want to show you. Just so you can see. So I'm turning it basically through the zipper, opening up the zipper and turning it. Ooh. So I see one part where I'm gonna have to go back in because it wasn't, I didn't get close enough. I got too far to the edge. And so I'll fix that when I turn it back out. Again, just hope I'm not messing my leather up too much. I'm going to turn it back out in a minute, but I just want to show you that it will turn okay. And obviously it's a little bit harder when you have leather. And this leather is a little bit thicker on this side that didn't turn so easily, but it is working. Okay. So it does turn okay. So this is what it will look like. I'll probably have to like steam it to get the leather to like lay flat all the way. But I'm not pulling it 100% out, but this is kind of what it looks like. I still have to pull this out and massage it a little bit. But this is what it roughly looks like now. We still have to add the other lining piece in, but this is what it looks like. And then I just have another little piece right here. You see this little piece. I still have to stitch that. So I just have to go in a little bit closer because that little piece did not get stitched. But otherwise, this is what it's looking like from the back. This is what it's looking like from the front. And again, I still have to pull this out. This is still in there a little bit, but I got to push it back in because we need to do the lining piece. So you can turn it through the zipper. You just have to make sure that you have that zipper a little bit open. So I am just flipping it back out. It's a little bit harder with the leather, but I'm zipping this just a little bit. Maybe make it easier. But I like the way it's turning out. I just need to push this piece back out because I do need to fix this piece where the leather did not get stitched in because I went too close to the edge. But we are almost done, believe it or not. This is the very end. Thank you for everybody who gave us information about how to work through that piece, that step. Okay, there we go. So let me see, where is the piece that I did not sew? I just got to find that piece. I think it's right here. I got to go back and find the piece that I did not sew on very well. Oh, here we go, right here. All right, so I'm gonna fix this piece that I did not sew on very well. And then we're gonna attach the lining piece. I just went in like a little teeny bit. All right. Okay, so you said, love the idea of the color blocking. It looks so good. Thank you. Thank you, Shamira. Thank you, Sabrina. Sebs. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Yeah, I like the way it turned out. It was not initially what I had planned, but I do like it. And I think it's going to look really, really good with, so this is the strap. This is the webbing I got for the strap. So that's the last part that we have to do is the strap. But, well, not the last part. Sorry. We have to do our lining first. So the lining, we're going to place the lining on top of the zipper front. So that is this side. We're going to be placing the lining on. And as everyone stated, the main thing we need to make sure that we do is, so we're going to basically be stitching the lining to the lining all the way around. So right side's facing. So here's our bag, wrong side out. Remember, we didn't attach the lining at the bottom. The key thing is to leave open a 5-inch opening. So we do want to, because you're going to literally attach the lining all the way around. And so this is the part that I think what everybody was talking about earlier, which is because you do have to attach this lining all the way around, it's probably easier to just be sewing the lining to the lining piece. And if you have enough seam allowance, which you may not because we sewed it only at 3/8 of an inch, you may have enough to just be able to sew the lining to the lining. But the key part is that if you don't and you have to sew all the way around through all the pieces, the key thing is to make sure that you have to leave open a 5/8 of an inch part so that you can flip this onto the other side all the way around. And so so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp all this all the way around. And then I am going to, and where I'm able to, if I don't have to go through all the layers, I'm not going to go through all the layers. But I think I do have to for at least this top part because I don't have that much seam allowance. I stuck with the 3/8 of an inch. And so I don't have that much seam allowance. But like this little piece right here that's sticking up, I'm going to cut that extra piece off because it's just extra. So here we go. I am clipping this on. So I've clipped on that's across the top, and now I'm clipping on around the sides. And now I'm down on the bottom where I did not stitch the seam, the lining on, but I'm making sure that I'm using a red clip on each side to make sure that I leave open like that 5-inch part so that I can turn it. Make sure you back stitch around that opening so that it doesn't tear as you're trying to like push it through, especially like in my case because my bag is very thick. That leather is very thick. So I'm roughly leaving open this, everything between these red, I'm leaving open so I can turn my bag. And then everything else I'm stitching. All the way around. So this is what it's going to look like. I'm going to stitch all the way across the top. And then I'm going to stitch the sides. And then when I get to this part, I am only stitching just the lining until I get to this red clamp, leaving open what I think is about 5 inches. Yep, it's about 5 inches. Then I'm going to double back stitch here, go all the way up to the other end. And then I will turn it. Is your lining canvas? No, this lining is actually cotton. It probably would be better if it was canvas because it would be a little bit more, durable considering that I use leather for the outside, but my lining is canvas. And then what you're seeing, this part right here is my batting. And in lieu of batting, I used a flannel interface is what I used, just to give it a little bit more. But the leather is pretty structured. So I don't know that this flannel interfacing is adding a whole lot. I used it for my denim bag, and it definitely did make a difference because that denim was very stretchy. So it did add that, structure to it. So here we go. I'm going to stitch it just again for instructional purposes. I am stitching all the way across the top, down and around till I get to this red. You will notice that towards the bottom, the lining is not attached. So I'm only stitching it to the lining. That's going to make it so much easier for me to flip the this back piece onto the back. And then, so I'm leaving this open and then restarting, back stitching right here, back stitching right here to reinforce it, and then going all the way back up and around. So here we go. I'm about to do it. Should be pretty straightforward. I don't envision any major issues with this part. So again, 3/8 of an inch seam allowance is what we're working with here. And actually probably a little bit less because you don't need it to come through your bag stitching because this is just the lining. This is just the lining piece. It is going through, no problems. I am within my seam allowance. So the stitching should not be coming through. All right. Now I'm turning. And I'm turning again. I'm going around the front part. And all right, so I stopped where my seam allowance, I'm sorry, where my lining no longer is connected. And now I'm basically lifting up my bag and just sewing my lining piece. So I did a back stitch there too, just so there wouldn't be any, disruption. And now I'm sewing and then I'm going to do a back stitch to reinforce that. Ooh, guess what I did? I sewed through my thing, so I'm gonna have to leave this side open. All right, so I sewed through my bottom part that I was supposed to be leaving open for my hole. So I'm actually gonna leave the side so I can turn it on the side. So the only other thing I'm going to do is I am going to just stitch up. So I'm gonna leave this part open here. This is where I'm gonna turn it to the other side, but I am going to stitch down this part right here. And then I'll just leave this part open. So I'm just gonna stitch down this little side piece because it is going to be very difficult to stitch it, hand stitch it or base stitch it, I think. I'm gonna do a little piece right here. All right. So what I have done is I literally stitched all the way across the top, down the side, and then I accidentally stitched up most of the bottom. So what I did is I left open this side piece. And so the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to flip this to the other side. And it is easier if you like, if your material is like leather like mine, it'll be a little bit harder, but it is working. It's just, it requires a little bit more elbow grease to kind of get it turned. But it's happening. He said, oh, thank you, Marilyn. I appreciate it. Thank you, Miss Alethea. I appreciate you for stopping in. Okay. So here is what it will look like. And here's my little opening that I do need to still hand stitch, hand stitch. So this will be the part that I will still need to hand stitch closed. This piece right here. You can see how it's still open. that part will need to be hand stitched. Close, which I will do later, but just know that it does flip okay. I would tell you that, you know, what the other area where they were talking about where we could have left open if we hadn't already stitched down, is this flat part. And I don't know whether that would be a little bit easier or not. This wasn't too difficult to be able to do. I still need to finish turning it on the sides, which isn't too hard to do. See, I'm just turning that and turning that. But here's where I will hand stitch this little piece right here. Just hand stitch that part. Everything else will be sewn in. And then the last part is not last part, because we still have to add our strap, but it is to basically flip out the rest of the bag, like similar to what we did the first time when I was doing the demo of what it will look like. I'm very happy with this bag. I'm going to add some steam to it because what I realized by steaming it, it does kind of soften up the leather a little bit and make it easier to like flatten and manipulate. Like right now, it's a little difficult, especially this brown leather is a little bit thicker than the other leather. The white leather and the black leather are not as thick. Okay. So let me see. Okay. Okay, there we go. It's coming. It's getting itself together. So that's my one. I know Dee's like, be careful. I probably look crazy trying to unfold this thing. Let's see. So I just have to push out this one little part right here where it is like not trying to come out. And I could feel it in there. But let me just show you. I think I'm gonna put some steam to it because I feel like that definitely help. I felt it like be more pliable when I add the steam. Okay, so this is like roughly what it looks like. I gotta still pull this out a little bit. It's in there, but this is roughly what it looks like before I have added some heat to it. Again, both of these, and then this is the inside. You could see, which I still have to turn. So probably what I'm going to do is turn it, hand stitch that inside piece, but this is what the inside looks like. And then I'm going to turn it back on the outside and steam it. And I'm going to I have like a little thing I can stick in here to help turn this piece because it's a nice little chunk stuck in there that I need to pull out so that it will look like this side. This side will look like that side. But it's not looking bad at all. Okay, so the last part that we have, oh, you said no, be careful when I steam. Yes, because I already burnt my finger. You can't tell, but my finger is burned. It's throbbing a little bit. So this is what it looks like. This leather, this piece right here that looks a little bit is very soft leather. I probably should have, this is the softest piece. This front piece is soft, it's softer leather. This piece and this black piece are probably the same thickness. And then this brown piece is the thickest of all of the leather. So this brown piece and then this piece right here are the thicker pieces. So what you see is like a lot of the texture in the leather is what you're seeing. I don't know if that'll go away when I add the steam to it. I'm thinking no, because this doesn't really have it. but it's a thicker leather. The black doesn't really have it. So it just might be that this leather this is more like, it feels more like suede, but it's suede on the other side. So it's just a very soft leather. Okay, so now we are to our last piece, which is what we're going to do with our other 20 something inches of our webbing. So last part is, I do want this to be adjustable. So you do have to add your adjustable piece. And what is recommended in the instructions is that you have a 30-inch piece and that you have the 7-inch piece, which makes up one of these short pieces. And then you have a 23-inch piece, which is connected on this side. And so on your 7-inch piece, you have that one single piece that's kind of sticking out. You are going to, whether you're using webbing or not, the way that it is instructed that you add that piece, and let me just go to that part, is about attaching the hardware. Okay, so basically what you're doing is you are taking one of your D-rings, you are putting it into that open edge, and let me just get an open edge piece so you can see what I'm talking about. So let's just say this is your piece of webbing. You are taking that D-ring. Let me just get a D-ring so I could show you. Here's okay, here we go. Here's my little kit. So this end is sewn into your bag. This end is a raw edge. And so you are basically taking your D-ring, you're putting it into this piece. You are taking the webbing and you're folding it over and then stitching it down. So basically to close in the edge, and this is probably not a long enough piece. Let me get a longer piece so you can see. Okay, here's a longer piece. Or actually, I could just use this piece. So basically, if this is your strip, one edge is sewn into your bag. The other short end is open. On that short end, let's say this end is sewn into the bag, this part. On your short end, you are putting your D-ring on, and then you are folding over and then folding it over again. Basically closing in the raw edge, and then you're going to stitch straight down. That raw edge is what you're doing on one end. And that is basically allowing you to have one end that's going to clamp onto the other end, which is where you are going to be attaching this piece. So in my case, because I put 2 D-rings on, I am doing 2 clamps. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just using this on both ends of mine. So I'm basically going to do exactly the same thing. Put one piece on, fold it on one end, and then stitch down. So it's basically locking in this piece. So I'm going to just do a single stitch. So you can put a clip on. So you're doing one single. So on your short end, you are putting a D-ring. So yours will look basically like this, but yours is a little bit longer. So it's a 7-inch piece where one end is attached, one end is open, and you are going to basically attach that D-ring, fold it under, and then fold it under again. So you're basically enclosing the raw edge, and then you're going to do a couple of stitches down. I would do probably like 2 rows of stitches down. Again, enclosing the raw edge, because the webbing, sometimes it can start to fray and you don't want that. So that's what you're doing on one end. And then on the other end, and so I'm not using this whole thing. I can't remember what I did for this piece. Let me see. I think I did. What did I do? I did. I'm trying to see how many inches I did for this. Now on your other end, you're going to put on your adjustable strap on the other end, and I'll show you that in 1 minute. Let me just see how much I did here. So let me just see. This is I did this 40, let's say 44 inches. Probably way bigger than it needs to be. So I'm just adjusting so I can show you the other end. I want to cut mine. Okay, there we go. Now if you are following the instructions, right, I'm not cutting 30 inches on mine, but for everyone else, they cut 30 inches. So they did 7 inches for the short end and then the remaining 23. No, that's what I have for this one. Because I want to be able to wear it as a crossbody, and I also want to be able to wear it around my waist. So that's why I'm doing this. So I can wear it like down on my side. So I can wear it like this. So it will let it be right here. So that's this is what 44 inches gets me. It's going to let the bag basically be like this. You'll get a feel for it. It's going to be right here. And then the other one will be right there. That's with it all the way loose. Now, if I want it, I'll put my adjustable on and it'll allow it to be up here, but I could also wear it down here. So that's 44. But everybody else, if you're following the instructions, so I'm giving 2. You say you're not going to wear it around your waist. Yeah, I will be able to wear it around my waist. I tested it. I can wear it around my waist. I just have to be, here we go. This is around my waist. So this is 44 inches for me. Now, if you're smaller than me, you might need to adjust, but the directions that Nikki gave is 30 inches, which is 7 inches on this end, 23 inches on this side, but you can do it longer or shorter depending on how you like to wear it. This is around my waist with tight fitting clothes on. So if I have on jeans or a jacket or something, it gives me a little bit of room, but this is what it does. And then if I want to wear it, and I like the flexibility of being able to wear it not only around my waist, but also like a purse on my side, but also like across. So I made it a little bit longer so I can have the ability to be able to wear it all the ways that I like to wear it. Yeah, I could. Yeah, when I wear it around my waist, I like it to be like right here, like how you saw it. I don't want it to be up here. I like it to be like low waist. So, but again, this is 44 inches. You have that preference to do it a little bit differently. I would say that if you are a little bit bigger, or you like it to fit differently, you may want to make it a little bit longer. But what Nikki has recommended, so that's why I'm giving 2 sets of instructions, what I'm doing and what the instructions are doing, so that you have that option to make the adjustment, again, the way you like to wear it. So Okay, so let me start back again. So now that I have mine cut, so if you just starting again, if you are following the instructions, I'm gonna give you 2 sets of instructions of how you can do it. So if you follow the instructions as they are, you would have done 1 strip here into the bag and 1 raw edge will be open. It will be a 7-inch piece. And so then on that piece, you are literally going to do exactly what I showed you on. Oh, it must have came off. Oh no, that's my extra piece. Okay, here it is. So you are going to, I'm going to do this again. Okay, so you're going to take your D-ring, you're going to put it on, you're going to take the raw edge of that webbing, you're going to basically fold it down. Make sure it's folded onto your D-ring so it's in the end, and then you're going to enclose that raw edge, and then you're going to do, I would do like 2 stitches down. So this is one end is going to be the D-ring. And then so that's going to be the one end, the short end that's on your bag. And I guess it really, I'm not going to say it, I don't think it really matters, but we're going to follow the instructions because, again, you might have personal preference for how you want to do it. But the short end is going to have your D-ring on it. In my case, because I'm doing detachable straps, I put 2 D-rings. So I'm doing a clasp on and then on your other end you are doing this because again you have this other end, so this other end, this is the, so just imagine that you have now the other end, the 23 inches. One end is sewn into your bag like this, and then you have this other end that you need to put this adjustable piece. Where's mine? Let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Let me make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Oh, you know what? She does not tell you on these instructions how to attach this D-ring. All right, hold on, give me one. I mean, how to attach the other end. So you have one end that has your D-ring on it. Oh, okay. And then the other end, but you do need to be able to put this adjustable piece on. Let me see how I have it on here. Okay, now I got it. So your other end, so again, one end is stuck into your bag, and then your other end, you are doing this. You are, no, that's not making sense. Give me 1 second. Let me see. I want to see how she did her other end. So I can tell you, because I did mine differently. Hold on 1 second. I don't want to get muted. Okay, here we go. I actually have it right on that section. Okay, let's see. Now she is attaching. So she put the clamp on. Okay, so it looks like she put the clamp on the short end and not the D-ring. Okay, so I will will correct that piece. So she's putting a clamp on one end and not the D-ring. And then on the other end, she is doing the adjustable. So the other end, she's doing the adjustable. And I'm just looking at how she's putting this on here. So I think it's going to be the same way that I'm doing mine. Okay. So let me just make sure I know this right. So she has this on this end. And then she also has this piece on this end. I guess the part that I don't see is how she has oh, okay. All right. I got it. Then add the adjuster. Right. So I'm just looking at her instructions and seeing what she has. Okay. So, all right. Let's start over. Work with me, people. You said you need one, but I don't have bag materials. You could use scrap. You can use scrap materials, Shamir. Look, I use leather because I had this scrap bag, but I had a couple scrap bags. So, but you don't have to. You can use denim. I know you got some denim. Use denim. You can. I know you have some. Okay. All right. So the other part of the bag. Again, one end of the bag is already tucked in. The other end of the bag, you have your clamp on, and then you have to put on your adjustable piece. And the way that I see that she's put this piece on, and I guess I have to put my piece on that way too, is she's got the swivel piece on, but then she also is, hold on, let me see. I feel like I had it, and now I'm like, how did she do that? All right, give me 1 second. Said put it through the D-ring, then add the adjuster. Right, so I have the D-ring on. This is basically the D-ring with the swivel on it, which is what she has. Okay, then she put it on one, and then she put it through the middle piece. Oh, okay. This is how she did it. So so this end, let me pause that before I forget. So this end is in your bag. Here's your adjuster. You put the adjuster through one piece here, put it through the other piece, kind of move it down some, then put this piece on. And then she takes this piece and goes, you kind of have to like push it up. You're taking this piece and you are going back around the middle piece. So this piece right here, you have it you put it through your adjustable piece, through the middle piece. If you could see how that's on. You put your D-ring on, or your swivel on. She put a swivel on, so you put your swivel on. Then you take this end, because again, this end is already into your bag. You're taking this end and you are going back through. So if you can see that, you're going back through, and you're going to go and push it back through this middle piece. Well, if I could get it through. And then you got to do basically the same. You're kind of creating like a little piece here, but you're going to do basically the same thing, which is that you are going to, and I know you can't really see it, I'm going to show both sides. So you're going to take this piece after you put it through and fold it under, and you got to sew it on. You got to clip it down onto this piece so that you're enclosing the raw edge. So you do need to keep this like open so you can have room to like stitch it down right there. And then you'll be able to, after you finish stitching it, you'll be able to pull all that through like that. So that's how you would have it. But before you do that, you got to sew it all down. And so that's basically how you're gonna do it. So you have your adjuster. So let me just show you again. Wow. That was tricky. All right. So here's your one. Again, one end is already sewn into the bag. You have your other end. This is your other end. You're going to take your adjustable one. You're going to push it through one end and push it through the other end and pull it through and kind of move it down a little bit. There you go. And then you're going to take your D-ring. You're going to put that on. And then you're going to take this piece, the end, and you're going to go back in through your adjustable piece. And let me just create like a little loop right here so it makes it easier for you to go in. So you're going to go up, back up through that middle, and then bring it back down to the other middle. And this is a little bit tricky because you got a lot of, webbing that's going through this piece, but it's not impossible to do. You just can't do it with one hand. Okay. So then once you get that piece like that, then you need to fold it under because you want to get rid of that raw edge. And it would help to have that opening piece right there. And then you need to stitch this down. You need to stitch that piece down right there so that your raw edge is enclosed. And then once you stitch it down, you'll be able to like move this around to create, make it small, make it big. So that is what you need to do. And you're going to have a swivel on this end. But what I realized is that Nikki showed a couple of different options for adding ends. You don't really need two. You don't have to have two swivels. You can literally have the D-ring on one because when you attach this to this one end, you'll have this swivel and you can attach this to your D-ring on the other end. So you don't need to. I think it's optional as to whether you want to swivel on both ends or you want to have a D-ring on one end and a swivel on the other end. So I'm going to stitch this down. And again, I'm doing a swivel on both ends because I want to be able to take off both ends and swap it out. So I'm going to stitch this down and then I will show you what it looks like. I could get this under here. And I think I can. So bear with me for a minute while I okay, so I got one side. This is where adjustable side that I have done. And now I am doing the D-ring side. Sorry that took so long. Hopefully everybody understood the end. All right, and now I am stitching on this other part. So here is my finished strap. You could see, oh, I realized I didn't realize I had, I didn't change out my bobbin, so it's red. So here is the other end. I should have changed out my what you call it. Okay, and then this is how it's going to connect on to my bag. So this is how it's going to connect onto my bag. I think it looks super cute. I really like it a lot. I feel like the color combo is worked out really well. So I still have a couple of things to do to sew up the inside, and then I want to steam this to see if I can get it to, well, I know I'll be able to either use my turner thing to pull this out more so it'll be more looking like this side, but I do like it. And then let me just show you. So if I want to make it smaller, I will just make it just like that. And so again, this is where I like mine to sit. If you do like it to sit up here, you definitely will want to make it small. I mean, you want to make it less. Mine is 44 inches. 30 was going to be too small. Well, not too small. I guess I could have just opened it all the way up. But I also want to be able to wear it. See, I can't even get it over my shoulder. I got to make it bigger. But I want to be able to wear it like this, a crossbody and around my waist. So here's the crossbody look high, and then crossbody look low, which is kind of like how I like it. So I love it. I feel like it is so cute. I really like it. So I'm gonna work on finishing it. Thank you everyone. Thank you. The strap looks so good with it. Thank you. I appreciate it. I was nervous about how it was gonna look, but I love the way it turned out. It looks really, really good. I hope this was helpful. I hope that you decide to make it. Again, Nikki does have a full tutorial on it as well, which she talks through some different options for the straps. So know that you do have that option. You can get the pattern from Beaute Ja'Dore. Look for the Chandler Fanny Pack is what this is. It's a PDF pattern that you can download. It's super cute. And despite, me running through a little bit of challenges, it is super easy. I don't think you will have a significant problem at all doing it. And again, you have some great resources. So definitely try it. Because it's really cute, and I'm gonna look. I look forward to posting some final pictures once I think I'm gonna try to. Hopefully, when I steam it out, this softness will like unwrinkle. But either way, it looks really cute. It looks super cute, and I really like it. And I think it'll go really good. Thank you so much, everyone, for like hanging in there while we work through this. Erica and Mom, please let me know if you are still working on it, if you had any challenges. I want to be able to help you get to the end of your bag. So definitely leave me some comments in the chat as you continue to work on it. Meb just purchased a pattern. Awesome. Please tag me if you post it on any of your social media platforms. I would love to see it. And also make sure you tag Nikki of Beaute Ja'Dore. She would love to be able to see the bag. And thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Dee. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Sanat. Thank you. Thank you so much for the compliment on the color combination. Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, RV Beads. Appreciate it. Let me see. Let's see. Cook and sew with Cocoa Butter Girl. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching. So again, if you make it, please tag me if you have any questions. Definitely don't hesitate to drop it in the chat. If I don't know the answer, we could definitely reach out to Nikki. She's so helpful and we'll be able to help with the answers as well. And again, super, super cute. I really, really like it. Hopefully you can see the full, get the gist of what it is. I got a little bit of work to do to press it out. But thank you so much. Thank you, Carmen, for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you everyone who drops the super chats. Really, really appreciate it. This was a cute bag, and I hope that you all found this tutorial helpful, even working through some of the challenges together, because these may be things that you may have questions about as you work on the bag as well. So I look forward to seeing you all next Friday. We will be back, and I think we're doing a bonnet next Friday. So and I will have I realize I don't have any of the lives posted, so I will make sure that those get posted this weekend so that you can see everything that's coming up for this month. We're working on Scrap Buster, so you're going to be able to hopefully do this with things that you already have in your sewing kits or your sewing, stash. So, because the goal is to not buy anything new, to use what you have, and I think you will be able to do it. So again, thank you so much. And again, thank you, Carmen, for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the shout out. Really, really appreciate it. Again, thank you everyone that joined. Marilyn, Shamir, Nicole, Anthony D, Carmen, Aisha, Felisa, Meb. Thank you again for the purchasing the pattern. Nikki, I'm sure is really appreciative. And let me see my people on. You said 44. Let me see. Who else? Thank you, Belinda. Thank you, RV Beads. Thank you again all for joining. And I look forward to seeing you all next Friday for another Scrap Buster. So bye, everyone. Thank you.